Booyah!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. If you were here the other day as we streamed Justin Trudeau's feeble attempt at what was considered resignation or stepping down as the Prime Minister of Canada, of course, he said he intends to step down. Very careful choice of his words, as he says that Parliament is now prorogued, that they're going to find a new leader for the Liberal Party. Make sure to check yesterday's video as to why I think we need to be vigilant when it comes to the selection process of our next leader. That being said, I have to tell you right now that if you remember the Freedom Convoy, if you remember the lawyers who got involved with helping the truckers in the Freedom Convoy with friend of the channel, Tamara Leach, the JCCF is now challenging Justin Trudeau's exit strategy, saying that it was technically illegal, that we need to see an election now. Essentially trying to find any means necessary to bring back Parliament. Before we get into the article, I just want to remind everybody, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, censorship is massive these days, and it's only going to get worse from King Justin as we head into election season. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps us more than ever. Leave a thumbs up and a comment on the way out as well. It helps push the video past the YouTube censors and the algorithm. That being said, let's get into this article being brought forward by the JCCF. The Canadians are now challenging Prime Minister's decision to prorogue Parliament, saying no reasonable justification. The JCCF is providing lawyers on an urgent basis to two Canadians, David McKinnon and Aris Lavranos, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, seeking a federal court declaration that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's recent prorogation of Parliament is unreasonable and must be set aside. When Parliament is prorogued, the parliamentary session is terminated. All parliamentary activity, including work on bills and in committees, immediately stops. Again, this stopped Pierre and the Conservatives with their committees trying to push for a non-confidence vote and trigger an election January 27th. Among his many grounds arguing that Trudeau's decisions to advise the Governor-General to exercise her prorogative power, her prorogative power, to prorogue Parliament to March 24th. This application argues that the decision to prorogue Parliament was incorrect, unreasonable, or both. The court application filed today contends that the Prime Minister's decision to prorogue was not made in furtherance of parliamentary business or the business of government, but in service of the interests of the Liberal Party of Canada. Again, there's no other way to spell it out. Of course it was. Now, the Governor-General, of course, being Trudeau's servant here to whatever he needs. And the news conference yesterday is January 6th. The time of this article, the Prime Minister's stated justification for the prorogation was 1, to reset Parliament, and 2, to permit the Liberal Party of Canada time to select a new party leader. No explanation was provided as to why Parliament could not recess instead. No explanation was provided as to why members of Parliament could not immediately exercise their right to vote on a motion of non-confidence in the government. A majority of MPs have now repeatedly promised to do just that, which would trigger an election and provide the needed reset in a democratic and legitimate way. Of course, it walks like a duck, talks like a duck. We're all saying the same thing. Of course, that's why he prorogued Parliament. He has no excuse. He just used the Governor-General to his whim in order to get it done. There's some meat on this case, I believe. I believe, depending on the judge, depending on who takes this on, there could be some meat on this case. Anytime we've seen any other leader step down, Parliament is never prorogued. They have an interim leader, or the current leader agrees to step down once one is selected, but they certainly don't prorogue Parliament to do it. The federal court. Oh, sorry. I missed a paragraph here. No explanation was provided as to why prorogation of almost 3 months is needed. No explanation was provided as to why the Liberal Party of Canada ought to be entitled to such a lengthy prorogation simply so it can hold an internal leadership race. The federal court application includes language taken from a decision of the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom, which ruled in 2019 that then Prime Minister Boris Johnson had prorogued Parliament unlawfully as a means of avoiding parliamentary scrutiny over the government's Brexit negotiations concerning the departure of the United Kingdom from the European Union. The application contends, among other things, that in all of the circumstances surrounding it, the prorogation has the effect of frustrating or preventing without reasonable justification the ability of Parliament to carry out its constitutional functions as a legislature and as the body responsible for the supervision of the executive, particularly insofar as it relates to Parliament's ability to deal quickly and decisively with an especially pressing issue, such as the situation caused by President-elect Trump's stated intention to impose 25% tariff on all goods entering the United States of Canada. Again, we're going to talk about Trump and his very aggressive charge towards Canada and what that could possibly mean on a future video, so stay tuned for that. But this prorogation stymies the public stated intent of the majority of MPs to bring a motion of non-confidence in the government and trigger an election. Prorogation serves the interests of the Liberal Party, but it does not further parliamentary business or the business of the government. It violates the constitutional privileges or principles, of parliamentary sovereignty and parliamentary accountability, stated lawyer James Manson. We will invite the court to conclude that the Prime Minister's decision to advise the Governor General to prorogue Parliament was without reasonable justification. Again, what happens in court is anybody's guess at this point. We all know how deep corruption goes. But again, if you go by what is being stated here, there's a lot of meat on the bone of this. There's a lot to process that any reasonable judge should look at this and say, you're absolutely correct. Hopefully, much like the UK, it is overturned. Applicant David McKinnon feels strongly about his case. He stated, this case concerns a living tree, our Constitution, and how that living tree withers without proper care. If we are to fight tyranny, for it is tyranny that confronts us, we must find the answer within the memory of our historical past. We call the memory of the common law. It is enshrined in the preamble of our Constitution. The common law is the repository and the grantor of our justice and our wealth and our happiness. We are had we nurtured our living tree and looked to our past, we would have read Lord Denning's admonishment, of the Attorney General from an earlier time. Be ye never so high, the law is above you. I mean, what we're seeing here is pushback on a grand scale to Justin Trudeau trying to use government loopholes, much like the Emergencies Act, much like all of his scandals, everything he's done since day one, to try and slither his way out of Parliament, to try and find ways to extend, essentially proroguing Parliament so that parliamentarians still get to collect their paychecks, so that we continue paying taxes, so that essentially the circus never ends for Canadians. It's nice to see that at least the Justice Censor, the JCCF, is stepping forward to represent those individuals who seek to make sure that our laws are upheld, that we're able to go to the polls, that we're able to vote as intended. Again, I will be keeping a close eye on this, and as more details emerge from this, I'll keep you guys notified as to what happens next, if we are going to see this overturned, or if it's just going to be passed by like most people probably assume. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. Do you think this will be successful? Do you think we'll see this overturned? Do you think we'll see the House go back and the prorogation thrown out the window? That's the question of the day, folks. Leave your comments down below. If it's your first time here, again, I hope this video sincerely earned your subscription. Make sure to hit that button. We've just brought 1,000 new subscribers into the channel yesterday. It'd be great to build this channel up as high as we can and get as many people watching this content as we could to make sure the news gets out there for everyone. Share it on your socials. Share it out to your friends. Let them know that freedom isn't dead in this country. Hit your bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show, where I'm joined by my ever so beautiful wife, Mrs. Fringe, as we go over everything that's happened this week in politics, everything coming up that we're aware of in the week ahead, and some back and forth within the community to hear what you have to say outside of making these videos. Both myself and my wife look forward to hearing what you have to say, and we look forward to seeing you this Friday starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.